Roger Goodell, in his infinite wisdom, has decided that the NFL is going to join the Cool Kids Club. They are going to join the pandemic. And when I say pandemic, I am not talking about the COVID. I'm talking about the real pandemic in this country, the woke agenda. In terms of the big three sports leagues, the NFL has been the final holdout. The NBA, they led the movement last summer. Matter of fact, I blame LeBron James and the NBA for popularizing the woke agenda. Major League Baseball, they simply followed their lead to an extent. But the NFL was the final holdout. You could argue that this disease started with the NFL back in 2016 with Colin Kaepernick. The league saw how players kneeling for the national anthem was affecting television ratings, and they made the swift decision to eradicate Colin Kaepernick from the league. Goodbye. Ever since then, Roger Goodell, he's kind of flirted with allowing the NFL to be infected. Last year, he allowed political demonstrations during week 1. Now, I don't think he wanted to do it. I believe that he was pressured by the players' union. I think some of the players in the NFL, I think they wanted the week 1 theatrics to happen all season. Roger Goodell allowed it week 1 and week 1 only. After that, it was strictly football, the way it's supposed to be. Fast forward to the summer of 2021. This time next year, we might look back at this summer as the beginning of the decline of the National Football League. Roger Goodell is no longer flirting with the sickness. He is 100% infected. It all started with the ridiculous COVID policies, treating unvaccinated players like second-class citizens. I told you guys when the new COVID policies came out, this was going to be detrimental to the careers of your fringe NFL players, the guys just trying to make a spot on the roster. Well, we saw that last week. The Atlanta Falcons, a team known for failing to accomplish anything on the field, decided that they wanted to become the first team in the league to be 100% vaccinated. How did they do that? Well, in order to accomplish that, they released the only 2 players on the roster who didn't get the vaccine. The NFL's COVID policy is a woker's dream. Why? Because it's all about control. It essentially forces players to be vaccinated. Oh, sure, they have a choice, kind of. You can refuse to be vaccinated, risk losing your job, risk costing your team hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines, forfeiting games, not being allowed to mingle with your teammates in the locker room. The list of restrictions is a mile long. Or you get vaccinated and you're accepted into the club. The NFL's policy on this, it gave corporations the blueprint on how to implement their own COVID rules. A couple of weeks after the new policy was released, Roger Goodell doubled down on the wokeness. The NFL announced that they're going to play the Black National Anthem before every single game this season. Now, this is going to be news to most people since they didn't know America had 2 national anthems. But yes, we do. Broadcast networks like Fox, CBS, NBC, they usually don't show the playing of the national anthem for regular season games, but just watch. I guarantee you week 1, the networks are going to show the playing of the Black National Anthem. Not only that, the NFL is investing millions of dollars into PSAs promoting social justice. They're going to put SJW messaging on the field. Basically, what the NFL is doing is exactly what the NBA did last summer. But why? Why are they doing this? This doesn't make any sense. There is a preponderance of evidence proving that this is the wrong strategy. I don't agree with many things that come out of the mouth of Donald Trump, but he perfectly described what we're talking about today. Check this out from over the weekend.
Do you think that General Patton was woke? I don't think so. What do you think, Mike? Mike, was he woke? I don't think so. I don't think he was too woke. He was the exact opposite. You know what woke means? It means you're a loser. Everything woke. Everything woke. It's true. Everything woke turns to shit, okay? It's true. true. Look at what's happening.
Donald Trump is 100% on point. Just look at everything that has went woke and the aftermath of making that decision. Start with the NBA. They infect themselves with the sickness 100% last summer, but they had been flirting with it for about 8 years. And what happened? Record low ratings for the NBA Finals. Record low ratings this year for the regular season. The NBA Finals last month, second least watched in history, beaten only by the record low ratings they set last year. Major League Baseball. Rob Manfred moved the All-Star game from Atlanta to Denver over some voting rights bill. They set record low ratings. The Olympics, usually one of the most watched events on television for 2 weeks. The Olympics brings in 25, 30, sometimes 40 million viewers to NBC on a nightly basis. This year, they allow anti-American athletes to use their platform to promote propaganda. The Olympics, record low ratings. Let's look at individual athletes. Kyrie Irving. Hell, he went woke years ago. He decided around 2018 or 2019 that he would rather be a political activist than a basketball player. Since that time, Kyrie Irving has missed more NBA playoff games due to injury than he's played in. Megan Rapinoe. The U.S. women's team was one of the most dominant soccer teams of this generation. At one point, they were looked at as unbeatable. Nobody could beat them. Megan Rapinoe becomes infected with the sickness. 44-game winning streak, gone, snapped. They struggled this year at the Olympics. Then last week, Hope Solo comes out and blasts Megan Rapinoe for bullying teammates into kneeling for the national anthem. Subway received massive backlash for using her on a national ad campaign. And I can't remember what the campaign was promoting. I think it was 1 million free sandwiches or something like that. Whatever it was a massive failure. Are you noticing a trend here? Wokeness destroys everything it infects. Gwen Berry is another example. Gwen Berry is a 2-time Pan American gold medal winner. She won gold at the Pan American Games just back in 2019. She gets infected, finishes damn near last place in the Olympics. I could go on all day, example after example. Hell, look at the major cities in this country that are infected with the sickness. New York City, dying a slow, painful death. Chicago, Seattle, San Francisco. My friends out in San Francisco tell me that the city is ruined. Hell, the entire state of California. New Orleans. LaToya Cantrell is one of the wokest mayors in the country, and she is ruining New Orleans. I think I told you guys yesterday about the reaction of Saints season ticket holders when LaToya Cantrell announced the new COVID policies for entering the Superdome. Thousands of people requesting refunds on their season tickets. Now, this brings me back to my original question. Why is Roger Goodell doing this? And can the NFL survive? I'm about to answer both. Let's start with why Roger Goodell's doing this. I think he's being forced, or at minimum, he's being pressured into doing what he's doing. Take the COVID policy, for example. The federal government is limited in what they can do in terms of forcing people to get vaccinated. So what do? They turn to private companies. What business has arguably the most influence in this country? The NFL. The NFL has massive influence. Like I said earlier, they laid the blueprint for other companies. Comply or you're out of a job. Now, as far as social justice is concerned, it didn't go as planned when the wokers tried it with the NBA, didn't work with the Olympics. Dana White, he flat out refused to allow these people to infect the UFC, so that was a no-go. The PGA, NASCAR, the NHL, they just don't have enough influence to be effective. The NFL is the only league left, and the league that can have the most impact. These wokers are relentless. You have to give them credit. These people do not give up. Now, you might be wondering, how are they forcing the NFL into doing this? Well, the answer is simple. ESG. We have talked about this several times over the last few months. I'll briefly touch on it again for the new subscribers. What ESG is is essentially a new credit rating for businesses, but it's not a financial credit rating. It is a rating based on your social justice policies, your COVID policies. Basically, ESG grades companies on how woke they are. If you receive a low ESG score, banks won't loan you money. Sponsors will refuse to spend money advertising with you. Broadcast networks, they might refuse to carry your games. Oh, it goes deeper, way deeper. That's just a few small examples of the impacts a low ESG score can have. Go check it out for yourself. Go visit the website of Walmart, Target, Nike. Google NFL ESG. First article that comes up is an article talking about the effect ESG had on Dan Snyder, changing the name of the Washington Redskins. Now to the second question. Can the NFL survive going woke? Obviously, the NFL's not going out of business. I've always thought the league was untouchable, that nothing could hurt the NFL. People, they can go without the NBA, they can go without Major League Baseball, but the love of football in this country is strong. Now, will the decisions made by Roger Goodell this summer, will they negatively impact the NFL's television ratings? The answer is yes. We're not seeing too much backlash right now, but we're in the preseason. Most of this new stuff, it hasn't been implemented yet, hadn't started yet. Week 1 last season, when the NFL played 2 national anthems, when the Chiefs and Texans had their unity stand in the middle of the field, Week 1 ratings were down nearly 10%. I don't think the majority of the NFL audience, I don't think they know about the league doubling down on wokeness just yet. This news was released earlier this summer, really wasn't covered too much. It kind of just quietly slipped into the news cycle and then slipped right out. There are going to be a lot of people surprised week 1 when they tune in to watch their team and CBS is showing players standing up, hands over their hearts for the Black National Anthem. Then once the National Anthem is played, some of these same players getting down on one knee. That is not going to go over well. If that happens, you are going to see major backlash towards the NFL. You're going to have a portion of the audience boycott the league, to be honest. What percentage? I don't know. That's hard to quantify. The NBA has lost over half of its audience. Now, I don't think it's going to be that drastic for the NFL, but we could be looking at a 15, 20% drop in ratings. I think that number is realistic. My opinion has changed a bit. I don't think the NFL is untouchable like I used to. The disease is the one thing that could bring the NFL down. I mean, nothing has survived wokeness. Nothing. Name one example of something surviving. With that being the case, how can the NFL survive it? All right, time to let me know what you think. Do you believe the NFL can survive going woke? Do you think we're going to see a drop in ratings? And if so, how much? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.